Hey, what's going on, man? This is Coach Tyler with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and we got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show. Today is Wednesday, February 7th, and we are inching ever so closer to the start of the NCAA softball season. Before we jump into today's episode, I do want to remind you about our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@foulpole-to-foulpole. Got a lot of different videos over there, a lot of shorts, breaking down some game film, and our video versions of our podcast are over there. So if you wanted to see what we look like, go over there and check that out. While you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode that pops out over there. Alrighty. So as we get into today's episode, I want to help these athletes make sure they're going to the right camps. Now, not all camps are a one-size-fits-all. Not every camp is a good camp for all athletes. There are a multitude of camps out there that are nothing more than money makers. And we've all been to those. We've all seen those. Those are the camps that they're really not out there looking at recruitable PSAs. They are just out there looking at 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and helping them hone their skills. Whether it's infield, outfield, pitching, catching, hitting, doesn't really matter. They're just out there trying to help athletes become better ball players. And that's what it is. And then you have the other prospect style camps where they're actually trying to identify new members of their team, whether they are a year or 2 years out. These are those prospect camps that you want to get involved with. Now, what camp should you choose? What camp is the camp for you? I can't make that decision for you. So it's up to you and your parents to figure out what is a recruitable option for you. And the reason that I say parents, that's because there's a lot of things that go into that, whether it's money, whether it's travel, whether it's, in-state, out-of-state. So there's a lot of these decisions that you're going to have to make with your parents. But at the end of the day, it needs to be a good fit for you. So where do you start? Well, for me, my 3 biggest things to look at when it comes time to looking at camps is A, how far away is it from you? Is it something that you can do in a weekend so that it doesn't create a burden somewhere else? Because let's face it, it's just a camp. It's just a prospect camp. And if it's too far away from you, do you see yourself actually attending that school when the time comes for you to make your decisions, where you're going to be committed, where you're going to be signed to, where you're going to end up playing the next 4 years, and where you're going to end up going to school for the next 4 years? Is that distance something that you and your parents are comfortable with? Number 3, what does the town look like? What does the campus look like? What does the city look like? So before you go to that camp, maybe in the morning or the week before or sometime, you have a chance to go and visit that town and visit that campus. See if it's something that you can see you being in. Is this a town that you like? Are you from a big time city where there's always something going on and you want to have that type of lifestyle when you get to school? Or are you from a small town where you're in the back roads, the rural areas, and that's what you're used to, so that's the kind of campus you're looking for? Okay? Look at the city, because you're going to spend a lot of time on campus, yes, but you're also going to be out in town as well. Can you see yourself there for 4 or 5 years, going and being a patron in that area, going and being an active member of that community in that society? It's a big part of it. And number 3, what about that school's academics? Okay, do they have your program? That's probably the most important of all 3. At the end of the day, all 3 are very important, but you have to make sure that before you go to a camp, don't just go to it because it's a camp. Go to it because you can see yourself there. A, it's close enough to home that you're comfortable with. B, it's in an area that you can see yourself living in. And then 3, do they even have your academic program? So before you go, you need to figure out what you want to do, not lock it in like, hey, I'm going to be an attorney, or hey, I'm going to be a doctor, but lock into some of these fields. Like, I can see myself doing, option A, B, and C. Give yourself some options to kind of explore and see what you want to, eventually lock in on. Okay. If you go to, say you go to a school and you're kind of open to general studies and you really don't have an idea as to what you want to be. And I get that. As a 8th grader, a freshman, maybe a sophomore, you probably are not exactly, locked into one thing, but at least you have some idea Or maybe you're one that doesn't have an idea, and that's fine too. You can lock into some general studies, but that's an expensive, set of general studies. If you end up deciding, hey, you know what? I want to be a veterinarian, and they don't even offer vet classes here. So then you're looking at transferring, or then you end up trying to decide on another degree program that, you really aren't sold on. But as you go through your general studies, you figure out, man, I could really get into this biology, or I could really get into this physical science or something like that. So before you go and before you lock in and before you really, start to make that decision, have at least some idea of what you want to be when you grow up. I mean, that's, by the time you're 22, 23 years old, you should have some sort of idea. And hopefully even before then, because it's tough to restart. And that's the thing. There's so much money involved in this. When it's all said and done, and you've, used up all your money, used up your scholarship, whatever, Division 1, 2, or 3 you go to, or JUCO or NAIA, and all the money is kind of spent, and then it starts to have, coming out of pocket, or it's a loan or something like that. You have to live with that debt. So some athletes come out with very minimal debt for whatever reason. Then some athletes will come out with, $100,000 worth of debt. Now, when you're looking at it, compare it to a car that you'll never drive. It's a debt. It's $80,000 worth of whatever that you're not going to drive, or it's a house that you'll never step foot inside. So making those decisions, we all have different budgets, and there's no, there's no knock on anybody that don't have the funds to go to school. There's different ways to get the funds to go to school, whether it's student loans or scholarships or grants or whatever. So just figure out which one makes the most sense to you. I don't want to see anyone come out of school with $120,000 worth of debt and a degree that they don't really love, and a degree that they can't use to get, at least get started into a career. So there's a lot of options out there where maybe you do go to a JUCO, or maybe you do go to a community college for your first couple of years. It's a little bit less expensive. You can stay a little bit closer to home to figure out what you want to do. You can still play the game, and from there you can transfer after you decide, what you want to do in life. So again, not all camps are designed for you to go and showcase your skill set and hopefully catch a coach's eye. And there are some, just like these showcase events that you go to, there'll be a lot of schools that are around. Maybe they'll run a solitary camp there, they run their own personal school camp, or there'll be a few that jump in together, and there'll be 10 or 12 teams that are kind of on board and they're doing this. See if it's worth you going to that. If there's only one school that you can see yourself getting involved with, or kind of going down that recruiting journey with, or at least exploring that option, it may not be the best option for you. You may be able to save your money and go to just their camp one day when it pops up. You may save some money. Or it could be the only time that you can see yourself in front of them for the foreseeable future. So you go ahead and jump on that and go for it. I can't decide for you, but I at least can give you 3 different sort of pillars where you can start from. Because at the end of the day, the number one thing that I get asked by parents is, where do I start this recruiting journey? And it can be overwhelming. So again, start with something that's close to home to you. From maybe start 50 miles or 100 miles looking at schools. And then also take a look at that city and that campus, whether you can go visit a game or you can go maybe check out a practice, whatever. Get out there and kind of see, research them on the internet, look at them, Google them, figure out what's up, follow them on social media so you can kind of get a little bit more about that school to see if it's something you can get involved with. And then, third, again, maybe the most important thing is, I know we're talking about the game of softball, but also the academics is more important than anything. It's not a 4-year decision. It's a 40-year decision. So think about that when you're starting this journey. Now, I'm talking, you could be 7th, 8th grade starting this process. Good on you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself trying to do that, but good on you. Or you could be that, sophomore, junior, or senior. And you're like, I should have started this, way back a couple of years ago or whatever. There's still time. Now, granted, there's not a place for everybody that wants to play the game. There's just not enough roster spots. But I can guarantee you there is a place for you if you run your race. If you do what you're supposed to do, if you do it the right way, I am sure you will find somewhere that you can play. It may not be where you thought, but there is somewhere. If you do it the right way, you'll find it. But every kid that goes out there and says, yeah, I want to play college softball, there's not a place for every kid that says that. There's a place for everyone that runs the race. There's a place for everyone that actually does the work. Because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, oh, I want to play here. I want to go play at Alabama. And then you show up and then boom, you're playing for Alabama. It doesn't work like that. So you got to start somewhere. So again, start with those three, man. Find out what schools are around you. Find out what that town and stuff, the city looks like. And see if you want to be a part of that. And then see what academic programs they go with. And then from there, at least you've got your feet on the ground. And then you can start making some of the harder decisions in life. All right? That's going to wrap it up for this episode. I do appreciate you guys checking this one out. If you know someone that is starting this recruiting journey, if they're taking that first step on this journey, share this with them. And if you share it with a friend, be sure you tell them you love them.